Hey everyone, it's Mr. Summers. You are right now on this document. You're working on finding out information about the different economies of the northern colonies, which is the New England, the middle colonies, and the southern colonies. You've already done the warm up, we've already analyzed the infographic, and now you're going on to page 228 to 233. So on 228 to 233, I'm going to be reading and you're going to be putting in information in the chart afterwards. So let me open up the reading. Page 228 of your textbook. Okay, it says the big picture. The economy of the English colonies grew. Some of their products appear in the infographic on page 232, which you already looked at. England set out to control all trade with its colonies by ruling that some products could only be exported to England. To export means to send goods to other countries for sale or trade. In exchange for their products, the colonists imported cloth, metal tools, glass, and machines. To import means to bring goods from another country for the sale or use. The English paid low prices for the goods, which they sold to other Europeans at higher prices. Even with the rules to control trade, some colonies traded with other countries. Next page, different economies. In the early 1700s, agriculture, which is the business of farming, was the way 9 out of 10 colonists made a living. So 9 out of 10 people worked with agriculture, which had to do with food and farming. Some farms had surplus of crops to sell. By selling crops and other products, colonists were following a system of free enterprise. In a free enterprise system, people can decide what to make, how much to produce, and what price to charge. Each region of the colonies had different natural resources. Those resources helped each region to develop its own special economy. So now we're going to talk about the southern colonies. And on your paper, you're going to be putting in information about the southern colonies. The southern colonies. The hot, humid climate and the soil of the southern colonies were well suited for growing crops. Farmers used much of their land for cash crops. They grew and exported tobacco, rice, and indigo to England. In 1744, a woman named Elizabeth Lucas Pinckney grew indigo on South Carolina. English merchants needed dye from the indigo plants to make blue cloth. Indigo quickly became a major cash crop of the southern colonies. So that's telling you some of the things that they grew: tobacco, rice, and indigo. Now, the middle colonies. Farmers in the middle colonies grew so much wheat and corn that people called their region the breadbasket of the colonies. These farmers sold their surplus grain to English colonies in the West Indies. The West Indies are the islands: Haiti, Dominican Republic, and so on. The colonists there needed grain to feed enslaved workers. Little land was available to grow food because most of it was used to plant cash crops, such as sugarcane. On Jamaica and Barbados, also in the West Indies, colonists ran huge farms with hundreds of enslaved African workers. The next page, 230. The New Englanders in the sea. So that's the northern colonies, or the New England colonies. In the rocky soil of New England, farmers barely grew enough crops to feed themselves. As a result, many New Englanders used the forest or the sea to make a living. In the 1700s, the coast of Massachusetts had some of the richest fishing areas in the world. Many people turned to fishing and shipbuilding. That was part of their economy. That's things that they did. Profits from the sea. Profit is the money that you make. New England needed ships. English ships cost too much, so workers cut down trees from New England's forests to build their own ships. By 1741, New England had a fleet of more than 800 fishing boats. The ships were built so well that soon English companies were buying them. So they made ships for themselves and made them and sold them. New Englanders sold fish to Spain, Portugal, and the West Indies. Their fishing and whaling industries made large profits. An industry is all the businesses that make one kind of product or provide one kind of service. Fishing and shipbuilding created other industries in New England. Ships needed ropes, sails, and other equipment.